In motion is Sewell. Goff to throw. Wants to throw it to Sewell. He caught it! Boy, Sewell with a first down! Oh, yes! The big man dives down to the 31-yard line! Oh, that is beautiful!
Welcome to a special edition of the 20-Minute in the Huddle podcast. It's special because I am joined by Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. Ben, welcome to the podcast. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Ben, let's start with this right away. You went through the interview process in this head coaching cycle, interviewed with Carolina, Indianapolis, Houston. I'm just curious, what did you learn about that process going through it this year?
Well, it was a great experience. You know, Coach Campbell came in immediately when the requests started coming in, and he was phenomenal through the whole thing. I would start there. He very much encouraged me to start exploring it, and was a great supportive character really behind the scenes for me to lean on, because he's gone through it a few times and was really a great resource. So more than anything, the experience was critical. Just finding out what types of questions were going to be asked in those meetings, getting to know some GMs, some owners. It was really a good informational time.
But ultimately, you took your name out of the running for that. You decided to come back here. I'm just curious, why was that the right decision for you? What was your reason behind just wanting to come back and run this again?
It's really simple for me. It starts with this place and these people. Been here 4 years now, and I believe in Sheila, what she's doing. Rod Wood, Dan, Brad, starts at the top, and I think it's trickled down. This is as encouraged I've been in my 4 years with the direction of the Lions and where we're headed. I always go back to this story. Right before COVID hit, it was one of the first off seasons I had here. Garth Brooks had a concert down at Ford Field, and I remember sitting there thinking at the time, I was just soaking it in, the atmosphere, and it was like, holy cow, this is what a home playoff game is going to be like, and this is what I want to be a part of. This is what I want to feel. This is what I want to experience, and it made me feel some type of way, and I kept going back to that as part of the process. And you know what? There's so many good things going on here, that so many good people, coaches, players. I love the offensive staff, everyone that we have on board there. I love the players. I love coming into work every day. Coach Campbell is incredible. And so end of the day, talking with my family, it made sense. It made sense. Don't ruin a good thing.
Little unfinished business, it sounds like.
That's right. That's 100% true.
You also have continuity with this staff coming back, and how big is that for you too, Ben? I mean, obviously you lose Deuce, and that's a big loss, but with guys like Mark Brunell and Antoine and Tanner Engstrand, just having that continuity with the offensive staff, how much is an easy decision that too, knowing that you guys can just kind of hit the ground running right when this thing kicks off again?
We were joking about it today because we're doing our self-scout process. We're evaluating the scheme and going over our personnel, and just how far along we've come where compared to this year or last year at this time, and where we're at this point. And I think the most encouraging thing is where we can get to, because I think we'll make a huge jump here between year one and year two in this offense as we clean up the details. The players start to understand, and there'll be less thinking and more reacting. So that's going to be critical, but it doesn't get done without a great coaching staff around you. And so the conversations we're having now as a coaching staff are, call it calculus, as compared to the pre-algebra that we were doing a year ago at this time. So it's
look at you using all the math.
Hey, there's the backgrounds there with the math. I have a degree that I don't use, so I got to trickle it in there every now and then.
How much is Dan being the head guy, the grounding force on that staff? How important was he to that decision too? And because you talk about the continuity and just what is it about Dan that not only players but coaches like working under him?
Yeah, it's he's a rock, man, and we're so fortunate to have him. And the guys, the players, the coaches that maybe don't have the same experience, I think one day they'll come to appreciate how special he really is. But no, everything that we're doing here is within his vision offensively as a team. He's really critical to the whole process. I know personally on a personal level, I value my friendship with him probably more than any. I've known him for a long time, but now it's a little bit different. He's my boss as well, so respecting those boundaries and making sure I'm doing right by him.
You know, you started as a tight end coach. You were elevated to the passing game coordinator, then obviously the offensive coordinator. I'm just curious, that passing game coordinator job, and Tanner Engstrand has that job now. Just how important was that to your development, and how important is that to an offensive coordinator? Can you maybe just talk about what that job entails? How much did that help you along in your process going through that, the second half of last year?
Well, I would say this year in particular for me as a coordinator, was challenging because I'm trying to manage my time. It's my first time doing it. I want to make sure I'm delegating, but at the same time, I want to make sure it's done the way I want it done. So there's a fine line there. But a guy like Tanner really came through in a big way for us last year because I can trust him. I know what he's going to relay to the players is going to be within my voice, within Dan's voice. We're all saying the same thing. So I think that's the biggest thing with not only Tanner, but with the rest of the staff. As long as you can trust these guys, you're in that same boat together. Everyone's rowing the same direction. You're going to have a chance. And I really think Tanner grew as we went along too. I could trust him to run some meetings where maybe I'm trying to get a jump ahead for the next day or the next practice, what be it, and then he could take that pass game pod, the receivers, the quarterbacks, the tight ends, and make sure that they're crossing the T's and dotting the I's.
There was no one happier than Jared Goff. I talked to him at the Super Bowl last week about you coming back and that continuity, and really he talked about the friendship that he has with you. And when you sat down, when you became the offensive coordinator, you decided to build this offense, you made Jared a big part of that. And it kind of made him feel like he had ownership of it. And then you watch the season that he had because of that, and the season that you guys had together offensively. How much pride did you take in the fact that Jared played the way he did, that the offense played the way he did, and you guys built that thing really together?
Yeah, it's a testament to him. He's gone through a lot through his career. He's seen a lot of coaches come in and come out, and he's really been steady throughout. I think it's helped him grow as a player and as a teammate. So it's been encouraging. There's been plenty that we took from his past that we knew that he did really well, and he opened up and he was willing to be challenged in some areas as well. So we saw him make tremendous growth from the end of last year through training camp. Bye week, we dove in on how he could improve as a player, and thought we saw the dividends of that second half of the season. And the good news is this: when he comes back in the building, we're going to have another plan of action for him to take another few steps forward to where he can continue to progress and be an even better player than he was this past year. So that's the exciting thing, and knowing him, he's going to embrace it and run with it.
You look at this offense, top 5 in points scored, top 5 in total offense. But again, talking with Jared last week, he talked about maybe consistency being the next step. There were some times when, maybe we threw the ball really well, but weren't as consistent running, vice versa. I'm just curious from your perspective, what's the next step for this offense in 2023?
It's the best part of doing what we're doing right now. We're very thorough. I joke about it with the staff because I go slow. So we'll go for 3 hours in the morning. We make it through about 30 plays.
Really?
It's yes, and it's as slow as it's ever been that I've been around, and it's
it's methodical. Let's say it's methodical.
That's a good way to say it. But I think at the end of it, we just finished run game last week, and I think at the end of it, you look at it and you're like, holy cow, how much better can we really become? And it's across the board. It's not just one position group. It's the running backs. If we just tweak this, or we ask them to do this a little bit there, or with the offensive line, if this technique's just a little bit different, it all adds up. And I think the staff certainly sees it, and it's just the challenge will be getting the players back in and learning from what we put on tape last year to take the next step. I don't know if it's reinventing the wheel and coming up with all these brand new plays. That's not it. It's the secret sauce is really the teaching and the executing just a little bit better than what we did a year ago.
So how do you take this time period where there's no players here? You're going through that. You're going through the plays. You probably just want to roll out on the indoor field and run through some stuff, don't you? Is that the hard part about the offseason a little bit? Is because you want to get the players in here and kind of get rolling with it?
What we'll do is we'll take the new coaches on staff and we'll get them out on the field, and we'll force them to learn the playbook that way. So we'll throw them in the huddle, and we'll get them to break the huddle and get lined up and all that.
A lot of guys that can run around still on this staff.
We got a lot of former players, which is awesome.
One of the things Jared does is get all those wide receivers together in the offseason, kind of his start to this before, they'll do it in the spring, they'll do it in the summer, and he gets those guys together in California. I joked with him, is one of the first calls you're going to make to J-Mo and get him out there. And, he smiled. He was excited about that too. But how excited are you to work with Jameson Williams, a healthy Jameson Williams? You didn't have that benefit last year. He was rehabbing this point. You didn't have him to the last 6 games of the year. To have a healthy Jameson Williams, how much are you looking forward to that this offseason?
Well, let me ask you a question.
Too.
What happened when the ball got in his hands last year?
Explosion. You take it to the house.
Yeah.
There's a few guys that can do it in the league, and I
right.
think he's one of them.
And so that's where we see it. You see it. Everyone sees it. It's there. And Jared said it before, consistency. That's really the name of the game. And we've had some great conversations with J-Mo even since the season ended. And I know his mind's going to be right when he gets back in there in the springtime. He's really looking forward to taking that next step as a player and really make a big impact on this league.
Is he an X, or is he a guy you can move around? Or I guess, how do you view him in your offense?
We'll move him around.
You're going to move him around a little bit?
Yeah. He'll be all over the place for us. I know this, when you get speed in the slot, that's very hard to defend for a defense. So there'll be times we do that. There'll be times he's X, he'll be Z, but there's a lot he can do.
Since you brought it up, let's talk about the slot a little bit and what we've seen from Amon-Ra St. Brown, the 100 catches, the 1,000 yards. The smile comes across your face, and it leads to my question, because how much easier does it make an offensive play caller, an offense, a guy who creates a scheme, when you have a guy like that in the slot? How does it change everything, make everything that you do easier?
Brad and Dan talk about it all the time. We just want the best football players that we can find, and that's what Amon-Ra is. He's a phenomenal football player. Take the receiver part out of it, he is just a natural football player, and we can't get enough of him. We want to line him up as the lead blocker. We want to line him up with the ball in his hands. We want to have him running all the right.
And he can do all that, which has to be so
fun.
fun for you. I mean, are you just sitting there as like a mad scientist wondering how you can get the ball in his hands sometimes?
He's an ultimate chess piece that it's fun, and we're going to continue to push the limits with him. I think he's made it well known he wants to get that deep ball going a little bit this year. Okay. So we'll see what we
see if we can work some things into the mix.
Yep.
How much better do you sleep at night, Ben, knowing that all 5 of those big guys are under contract?
Huge.
For next year?
It's everything. I'm telling you right now, that's when we did the run game last week. I kept saying it over and over. Surge. It didn't matter what scheme we were running. Displacement of the line of scrimmage was happening on a regular basis. So, and that's a testament to them. They're phenomenal. Coach Fraley does a great job with them. And like I said before, there's still room for growth in that room. And so we'll coach them hard when they get back, and we're going to continue to take that next step. But not just from a run blocking standpoint, but from protection. We were one of the least sacked teams in the NFL last year, which is, once again, on them first and foremost, but then Jared was doing a great job getting the ball out on time as well.
Has Penny dropped his list of plays that he wants to be involved in at your office yet? And do you have a few of those maybe? When you deal with a guy that's that athletic, and I know you mentioned it, I think Dan mentioned it too, about scheming to a right tackle, which you normally don't do, but he's such a talent just to get him in space and scheme and all that kind of stuff. Do you have some things?
Yeah, we got some things in mind. I was texting with Frank Ragnow during the Super Bowl because Philly got known for that quarterback sneak, and Frank said, hey, well, why don't we do more of that quarterback sneak? I'm like, okay, got it, no problem. I was like, how do you feel about if we put Panay at quarterback and have him do it? He's all on board. That's brilliant. Let's do it. So you never know. We can move them all over the place, but Panay, Frank, Deck, Jonah, We've got
list. I mean, Pro Bowl guys at every position.
It's incredible.
I mean, it's unheard of.
Yeah.
It really makes the whole thing go, doesn't it, Ben?
Well, that's why I'm back.
You're in your free agent process right now. Just curious how that's going. Obviously not going to give any details or anything, but that's a big part of this process in the offseason right now. How's that going? And you guys have some draft capital. You have some cap space. Are you excited about what you guys are going to be able to add offensively to what you already bring back?
Yeah. And that's you always start with evaluating your own first. So we have some free agents that are up on offense that were big time contributors for us.
Jamal and DJ.
DJ,
Yeah.
are the first two that come to mind. So we'll see what happens. I know we certainly value what they were able to bring to the table for us offensively last year, and we'll see what else is out there as well. Brad and Dan, they'll come together, they'll be aligned, and we'll have a great plan for free agency in the draft. And our coaches right now, they're working in the morning. We're doing our self scout. In the afternoon, we're doing personnel and trying to find what's the next piece for us offensively? How can they help us?
Ben, the way you guys finished last season, what you have coming back, especially offensively, 5 picks in the top 81. You got cap space. Just how excited is this entire staff? And I know it's just the season is just recently done, but how excited are you guys down the hall for what could potentially come when you guys put the work in for 2023?
Yeah, I think what you just said is the most critical part of that. It's us putting the work in. We can't count anything before it actually hatches. We have to still, and there should be excitement because we did finish strong. But at the same time, our preparation, how we approach the springtime, training camp, we can't regress in any aspect. We got to pick up where we left off at the end of the season, at least offensively. That's what I can speak to. And because I really, truly believe we can make huge strides as offense over the next season as well.
I know that excites Lions fans to hear that, especially with all the success that you guys had last year. I'm very happy that you're sitting next to me and we're talking. I know Lions fans are very excited that you're sitting next to me and talking. Have a great offseason. Combine's next.
Right.
Do your work down there. And how about we talk again in OTAs or somewhere around there? And we're all glad to have you back. Thanks,
Sounds
man.
good.
Appreciate
Thank you. Yeah.